get my yarn now.
I'm gonna go get your yarn.
Okay,
go on. Hi guys, welcome to the Knitting Expat Podcast channel. Today I'm filming the first in the series for the palette cleanser shawl. This is going to be the second Knit With Me series that I've done on this channel. I did one a little over a year ago for a tubelet cowl that was really popular and everyone really liked that format, so I wanted to do, and I always planned on doing more of these series. It's just well, yeah, let's just say 2020 wasn't the best year for a lot of reasons. Anyway, so I'm here now to do this, and the reason why my darling little almost 4-year-old daughter Layla is with me is because I had planned on filming it this week while she was at preschool, but we found out over the weekend that one of the children in her class tested positive for COVID, so we are now isolating for the week, well, for about 10 days, and we'll be getting tested tomorrow. I think we're getting at-home tests to do, and so we should know by the end of the week if we're okay or if we have it. All that fun stuff aside, she's going to be with me probably for most of the filming of this series. So this is the shawl that we're going to be knitting together. This is what I've called the palette cleanser shawl. I kind of designed this and knit this when I was going through a pretty tough time towards the end of last year. I lost my granddad and my uncle within 2 weeks of each other, so yeah, it was a hard time. It wasn't fun. So this was basically a lot of the knitting that I did during that time, and it was just something mindless but kept my hands busy. And like I said, it was a palette cleanser because I'd come to the end of a few other big projects and just needed something to clear my mind. It's a great gift knit project, it's a great stash buster, it's great for hand spun, it's great for all sorts of things because it's designed in a way that you can just use up all of your yarn. You don't have any leftovers, you can use it with any weight of yarn really, and it's very adaptable to what you have on hand. Okay, my battery light's flashing, so I'm going to go ahead and change the battery on the camera, and then I'll talk a little bit more about the materials that you're going to need for the shawl, and then we will get to winding up the yarn. Okay, so in terms of materials, I've got the pattern printed out here, and okay, so I should say the pattern will be available on my Ravelry, and I think I'm going to have it up on PayHip, I think, by the time these videos launch. I'm planning on moving away from Etsy for my pattern sales and move to PayHip for that. I just think it's probably a better interface for what I'm looking for moving forward. So there'll be links to both places below this video where you can find the pattern. The pattern will be available at a variety of price points. If you're familiar with my designs, for the last year and a half or so I've been implementing a pay what works method of pricing for my patterns, so to make it as accessible for as many people as possible. So the full price for the pattern I think will be about £8. Then there'll be is it £8? I can't remember now. Whatever the full price is going to be, then there'll be different discounts for being able to get it at cheaper prices. And there's going to be one option to be able to get the pattern for, I think, for just £2, I think. So it's just a nominal price. The whole point of this series is to talk you through and teach you all the different techniques and walk you through step by step the different methods and stuff that are included, so that you can have the confidence to knit this shawl, and you can obviously knit along with us in this video. And I'm trying to think, I think I'll have a thread in my Ravelry group as well for anyone who wants to knit along and chat and show photos of what they're working on, and there'll also be a hashtag for the knit along, and I think I'll just call it hashtag palette cleanser, or KED palette cleanser, so Knitting Expat Designs. So KED palette cleanser, I'll pop that up on the screen. If it's, I might need to change it slightly. I'm assuming that hashtag is not taken, but I'll put the correct hashtag on the screen and in the description box in case it is taken. And yeah, we'll just knit along and have some fun, and maybe at the end I might throw together a couple of prizes, we'll see. Okay, so those are the main things. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments below this video. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else before we move on. I think that's it. So start off with, we're just going to go over the materials that you're going to need. So this is the version that I've already knit. So the yarn I used for this one was hand spun, and it's mainly anywhere from worsted weight to like a bulky-ish weight. There are definitely some thin spots and some thicker spots throughout, and I knit this on 6mm needles or US size 10s. So very flexible. If you have thinner yarn, use smaller needles. If you have thicker yarn, use bigger needles. It's pretty self-explanatory. And I've used 5 skeins for this design. You can do it with 4 or even 3 maybe. I think 4 would be more comfortable if you were gonna. So see, there's 3 color sections. You could omit 1 color section and just do it with 2 color sections, and so skip this, basically the purple bit, and go straight to the border. So that's also an adaptation option there for you guys. I'm going to be doing the full version, as you can see there, and I'm just getting out all the materials. So because the yarn I'm using is more of a DK weight, DK to worsted weight sort of thickness, I'm going to use thinner needles. I'm actually going to use 5mm needles. Sorry, I've got a needle floating in the bottom of this bag. Yeah, I'm going to use 5mm needles, and so I've got my 5mm needle long circular set up, but this is just from my Chagu interchangeable set. So 5mm is a US 8. Just checking my notes to make sure I get that right. And I really like these needles. They're slick, they allow me to knit quickly, they've got good points on them, but they're not too pointy. And I like the cable. I like that it has no memory and it just sort of keeps its shape. Layla over here is doing some colouring while I talk. She's got some yarn that she wants to show you, so we'll get to that in a minute. So the yarn that I'm using is these 2 skeins of grey yarn, which is a 90% Cormo, 10% black fine wool that I got from Will You Farm Yarn. They're based in Vermont, but I picked this up at Rhinebeck, my very first Rhinebeck, in 2017. So I think this is the last 2 skeins I have from the bunch that I bought from them. So it's gonna be really nice to use it up in this pattern. And then the other 3 skeins are my own hand spun. So these are all fibres from John Arbon, as it happens. I didn't plan it that way. I just picked out colours that I thought went really well together from my hand spun stash, and they all happen to be John Arbon. So the dark one here is their Corriedale base, in the colourway is Dark Gold of the Sun. The middle one is from their Harvest Hues range in the Russet colourway, and the red one at the end is Pomegranate from John Arbon as well. I think that's also their Harvest Hues range, so I think that's like a merino base. I can't remember, I didn't make a note of that. But yeah, so these are the 3. I'm trying to remember what order I was going to do these in. I think I was going to go, yeah, red, yellow to green. So it's going to be this way in the shawl. Yeah? Yes.
Like this, look. Red goes stop, yellow goes wait. Red means stop, yellow means wait, and green means go. Green means go? Are you telling me the traffic lights? Yeah. Does it look like traffic lights? Yes. Okay, so mine is going to be the traffic light shawl. My palette cleanser is going to be a traffic light shawl. Because it's got red and green and yellow. Yeah, they learnt about traffic safety and road safety at preschool a few weeks ago, so... Because Loki told to me. Yeah? Did he teach you about that? Yes. What did you draw? 1, 2, 3. That's not us, because our face is a cupboard. Oh, okay. So who is it? It's not people. Oh, it's just pretend? It's ghosts. Oh, it's ghosts? Yes. Oh. You want to show the camera? This is ghosts. So she's drawn some ghosts on this page here. They're coloured ghosts. They're coloured ghosts? Yes. They've got hankies on them. They've got hankies on them? Yeah. They're silly. Hey, is it my turn? Oh, you want to show your yarn now? Okay. So Layla wants to show you her yarn. She has some lovely red hand spun that I gave her. What else do you have? We have some other red worsted weight yarn that's part of her stash.
And she also has her beloved skein of rainbow self-striping West Yorkshire spinning yarn, which I'm not allowed to touch. And the little mini skein of yarn.
I got choppers.
You got conkers.
Yes, can I show them?
You can show them conkers if you want. Some conkers in her basket as well. Alright, you can put your yarn away. Am I allowed to knit with this?
No.
No?
It's my colour. It's my colouring.
Okay, it's alright, don't worry, I won't knit with it. Can you put your yarn away?
Cost one at a time, Mummy.
Alright, you can go put it away?
My shopping basket.
Alright,
And
well,
now I'm going to
be careful you don't hit the tripod, honey. Okay, so that's the yarn, so that's what I'm going to do. What you could do, like I said, instead of having 5 skeins, is you could omit one colour and just do 2 colours. I like having 3 colours. I think like design wise and aesthetically, having things in sets of like 3s is a lot more aesthetically pleasing than just 2. So yeah, you could also do it with just 1. You could have a smaller shawlette type and just do 1 colour. You might still need 2 skeins of your main colour. So yeah, as you'll see, I didn't really explain this super well. It's very distracting with Layla around, I'm sorry. But the pattern does have it all written out, obviously, and it's all explained in there. Oh, you found your tiara?
No, check it.
Oh, alright, so I have 2 skeins of my main colour, and then 3 skeins, 1 each of 3 contrasting colours. And like I said, you can either have 1, 2 or 3 contrasting colours. I think you probably still would want to have 2, or if you're only doing one contrasting colour, you probably only need 1.5 skeins of a main colour. So if you have leftovers, that'd be a great one. And yeah, or sorry honey, I felt like that.
That's my tiara.
I know. So you can see that main colour is kind of used in all the transition sections of the shawl, going down as well. So, I mean, you can also switch it up if you wanted to. You could have just 1 colour at the top here, and then use a different colour for all these transition sections, and then have a different colour for the border at the end. Like, you can really play with the colours in this however you'd like. It's very adaptable, and that's the whole point of this shawl. Other notions that you're going to need, you'll need tapestry needles, little scissors, and some stitch markers as well to mark where your increases go in the shawl. So just pretty standard stuff, nothing super special or anything like that. So I've given a gauge of about 12 stitches and 4 inches, but like I said, the gauge isn't super important. That's just the gauge I got on my finished shawl, and the finished measurements for this one are in the pattern, but it's not super, you know, you don't have to necessarily match gauge exactly. So yeah, so what we're gonna do is now I'm gonna get to winding up the yarn, and then I think the next step, and I might put this in a separate video, is we're going to do the casting on, the garter tab cast on. I have a slightly unique way of doing it. I don't think it's unique in the sense that I definitely didn't come up with this method. I know other people, Layla, please wait. I know other people do this method, so it's not like I'm not claiming that I've invented it, but it's not one that I often see in patterns. So I wanted to share that with you guys. And yeah, so that'll be in a separate video. We'll do the garter tab cast on and the setup rows, and then yeah, we'll do that separately because I can't film that with this little girl hanging around. So I need to wait for a time when Perry can watch her, and I can do that separately. But yeah, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to change the camera setup a bit, get set up and start winding some yarn.